When I first started freelancing, all I really wanted was simple: to do meaningful work, to earn on my own terms, and to finally have the freedom to manage my own time. And for a while, it was great. I felt excited, capable, and independent. But then more clients came in. Projects overlapped, emails, revisions, invoices, feedback, it all came crushing down on me. And before I knew it, I was back to late nights, answering messages at 1 a.m., and realizing that freedom no longer felt freedom anymore. So that's when it clicked for me. If I really wanted peace, consistency, and space to grow, I could not just rely on motivation or hard work. I needed systems. Because systems don't just organize your business. They protect your energy, they help you show up better, and they remind you that this life you are building is not meant to drain you, but to sustain you. That is why today's episode matters. Because no matter where you are in your freelance journey, building and improving your systems will always be worth it. When I look back, my process honestly before was chaotic, but back then to me, it felt normal. I didn't actually have a real system because my inbox was my to-do list. My clients' feedback lived in different email threads, and my project tracker, a color-coded sticky note on my desktop that I kept forgetting to update. I was just actually going with the flow, thinking that as long as I deliver, I will be okay. But that kind of flow only works until one of the ball drops. Like the time I missed an important client revision because it was buried under 20 or 30 Slack messages. Or when I forgot to send an invoice and only realized it 2 weeks later. Or when I said yes to another project, not realizing the deadline actually overlapped with 2 others. So those examples at that moment were actually painful, but it definitely served as my wake-up call. Just that quiet realization that I could not keep depending on memory and adrenaline to hold everything together. So instead of trying to overhaul everything, I started asking myself, what are the few simple things that I can set up right now that will make work feel lighter and more sustainable? That's what led me to build the first 3 systems that changed everything for me. So if you are ready to make your freelance life a little easier, let's walk through 3 simple systems that you can start building today. So let's start with the first one, your client onboarding system. This is the process that welcomes new clients into your world or into your business. It's how you set the tone for the business relationship, make a great first impression, and build trust from day one. Because when a client says yes to working with you, that is not the finish line. That is where the real relationship begins. And without a clear onboarding system, that is where you easily lose momentum. That is where confusion, scope creep, or misaligned expectations usually start. So your onboarding system doesn't need to be complicated. It can simply be a clear process that helps feel your client guided and confident about working with you. Now, it could include the following. Number 1, a welcome email about what happens next. Second, a short onboarding form to gather some details like the client's brand info, goals, preference, and the like. Third is your service agreement or contract. Fourth is an invoice of the first payment. And lastly, it can also include a shared folder or a dashboard for sharing of files. Simple, clear, repeatable. That is the goal. Now, when I first started, my onboarding used to be a messy email thread. One message for the invoice, another for a contract, another for the Google Drive link. And if you happen to be a client who is meticulous in terms of how someone presents themselves, you might have considered me back then like all over the place. And I admit, now that I think about it, I could have done better. But with the knowledge I had back then, that was what I knew what to do. Over time, I realized how much smoother things became once I set a clear process. Now, everything is automated and organized. So when a client signs, they automatically receive a warm welcome email, their invoice, their agreement, and a shared ClickUp workspace where everything lives. Doing this really saves me a lot of mental energy, and most importantly, it makes my clients feel like they are being taken care of. So the second one is your content and communication system. If you want to stay visible online without burning out, this is one of the systems that you can try to fail. Because visibility brings opportunities, but only if you keep showing up in a way that feels doable and aligned. Your content and communication is how you share your work, how you stay connected with your audience, and nurture relationships without it taking over your life. Because trust me, if you want an aggressive approach, it can feel a lot really quick. Like, for example, you want to grow TikTok, you want to grow Instagram, you want to grow LinkedIn. Even one platform can already feel like a full-time job. So when you have a plan for how you show up online, you don't wake up wondering, what am I going to post today? Or did I forget to reply to that message? It keeps your energy focused on connection, not on the chaos. So you can start with a simple content calendar. Even 1 to 2 platforms is just enough. So in one of the videos that I created, I mentioned that when I started, I really wanted to be all over the place. But then I quickly realized that's just not sustainable. So I decided to push through with Instagram first and then easily cross-post that to Facebook. And then after a few months in, I then expanded to LinkedIn. Next is a batch creation routine. Maybe you would assign a specific day or maybe a number of hours for you to write or plan your content, another to design, and another day to schedule, whatever works for you. The next one is going to be reusable templates. Now, these templates are a lifesaver because you can do templates for your Instagram stories. It can also be templates for your reel covers. So not only are you maintaining consistency or a cohesive look, it also saves you time from thinking, what is my reel cover today or what would be my stories today? And when it comes to communication, you can try setting one dedicated channel for client updates, whether that be email, ClickUp chat, Slack, to avoid getting things lost in DMs or email threads. So when I was starting out, I used to post randomly. Some weeks I'd be so inspired, I'd be posting once a day or maybe twice a day. Other weeks, I'd just completely disappear because I was buried or too busy with client work. And honestly, that inconsistency made me feel like I was not doing enough, even though I was working really hard behind the scenes. So now I plan content every month ahead of time. So that way, even during busy seasons, I still post maybe twice or thrice a week, not because I always feel like it, but because I already have a system that makes showing up easier. I also set communication boundaries with clients. So of course, I let my clients know when I'm available to respond. So for example, I have one client who's located in the Eastern time zone. So in the agreement, I mentioned that I will be able to reply to emails or to chats within 24 hours, specifically within these time frame. So that way they know what to expect from me in terms of communication, in terms of replies. So if you're still figuring out your rhythm, take your time. Your consistency doesn't always have to look like everybody else's. It just has to work for you. Third one is your project and payment tracker. Now, this might sound a bit technical for some, but it's honestly one of the most freeing systems you can create for yourself. Because when you know what's coming in, what's spending, what's already done, you stop guessing and you start leading your business with clarity. So use this tracker as a central place where you can see everything at a glance. All your clients, your ongoing projects, and your payments and invoices. Really, the system is about peace of mind. So no project, client, or invoice slips through the cracks. Because when your brain is busy remembering certain details, it has no room to create or rest. So you can start doing this in Google Sheets, in Notion or ClickUp, anything at all that feels comfortable for you and you are sure that you can maintain it daily. So here's what mine includes that you can also use as your guide. Number 1 is client name and project title. 2, start and end dates. 3 is scope of work, like what's included. Is it social media management? Does it also include email marketing? Is there launch support? Things like that. 4th is payment terms. So I know when each installment is due. 5th is invoice status. What has been sent, what's paid, what's pending, and also a notes for any updates. So that's it. Nothing complicated at all. Just one clear view of what's happening in my business right now. So when I first started, I did not track anything properly, maybe a few to give myself some credit. Now everything's inside one tracker, and that small habit really changed how I run my business. I can see overdue invoices right away. I know when to follow up politely, and I can also plan my cash flow months ahead without the anxiety. So that's the kind of clarity that systems gave me, which I'm also hoping that it can also give to you. So if you've been keeping all those details in your head or scattered in emails, maybe this is your sign to start building your own tracker. Start from scratch, make it simple. It doesn't have to be a full-blown AI supported tracker or something like that. Not because you have to, but because you know you deserve that peace of mind. If this feels a little overwhelming right now, please take a breath. Pause this video if you want, or even bookmark this so once you have a little breather, once you are in a calm headspace or in a calm area where you can focus, you can go back to this. You know what? None of us started with perfect systems. I started with sticky notes, messy folders, and a head full of mental checklists. But every time I pause or even schedule like a systems update or a system audit just so I can organize a small thing in my business or one small area, it gave me a little more peace, a little more room to focus on what really mattered. And over time, it compounded. So if all you do after watching this video is set up a single tracker or write down your client process on a sheet of paper, that is already progress. So don't downplay it, because the goal was never to run a flawless business. It's to create a rhythm that feels like you, one where you can breathe, create, and serve your clients with clarity and ease. Systems are there to hold you up, to protect your energy, your time, and your vision. So if this episode helped you feel a little bit lighter, let me know in the comments. What is one small system you're excited to build or even refine this month? And if you are still in that messy middle, the emails, the late nights, the constant juggling, please remember you are not alone in that journey. We are all figuring it out one step at a time, one system, and one brave decision at a time. So hit like, subscribe, and come hang out again in the coming weeks. Of course, if someone ever came to mind, feel free to share this video to them. Until then, keep showing up, keep learning, and keep building a business that supports the life you are meant to live. Bye for now. Explore and learn more about the freelancing world by downloading my free guide called the Freelance Starter Kit. It's available in the description box below. Make sure that your email address is active, and please check both your inbox and spam folders after you're done signing up. You'll also see a link where you can submit your questions about freelancing so I can talk more about those in my upcoming videos. Thank you and see ya!